Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am here, but I'm not sure whether I'm also on LinkedIn. If someone could message me and let me know that you can hear me and you can see me, that would be fantastic. My my StreamYard says that we are live on Facebook and we're live on LinkedIn and we're live on YouTube and on Twitch and on Twitter, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and StreamYard. That's 6 platforms. And I've put a bit of slap on, although I've got to say I didn't quite look at whether my things went together. I wasn't thinking about that. I'm also going to have a look on LinkedIn and see if I can see myself on the actual event. I think I'm here. Where's my LinkedIn? There it is. There it is. There it is. Is it? Can I see the event? Let me have a look. So please forgive me for not being able to see what I did. Anyway, I'm just going to go for being here. I think that's probably going to be best, really. So if you did come to be part of this, I'm sorry. I appear to have boo-booed, but I don't think I have, you see. I think that things happen the way that they're meant to happen. I'm not sure about lipstick, to be honest. I'm not sure about the slap. People will have to tell me what they think. I think it kind of changes who, what, and how I am. Hey, Matt. Can you hear and see me? I hope you can. So yeah, I'm here for inclusion. It says, who do I think I am? Well, I think I'm Mandy-Jayne, and the title of this is I am here. I am here for inclusion. And what I'm hoping to do now, good morning, Clive. Hey, everybody. It's great that I can see the chat. Fantastic, Philippa. How wonderful. Look, if you're with me this morning, because this is what I'm going to have to get used to, not knowing, just say, hey, that's great. It's lovely to feel your presence. Not that I needed to hear from you to know that you were here. So I'm here for inclusion, and I'm here for inclusion, and I'm showing up whatever. I nearly didn't get into the studio because I was actually in my bed. And I was in my bed because I've had a transient ischemic attack. For those that don't know what that is, it's a mini stroke. Now, I have a problem with my vascular formation because I have extra stretchy collagen. Extra collagen, it means that I don't look quite as old as I actually am because I'm well old. You'll have to guess. I mean, I've just been 21 yesterday. So you won't believe me about my collagen when I say that. But yeah, it means I've got extra stretchy collagen, which means that my vessel's also a bit stretchy, which means that my mum died of a massive heart attack in her sleep. But she also took amitriptyline quite extensively, which makes your heartbeat race really, 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 really fast. And sometimes have some brain bleeds. I'm not looking at the camera. I'm going to stop that malarkey because I forget, you see. I don't really use my visual cortex as much as I should. I think it's probably a trauma response, or the way that my brain is wired more auditorily. Now, this TIA happened. I've been knowing it's been coming on for a few weeks. I knew there was something amiss. My heart rate's been incredibly slow. On waking, it's been about 48. Interestingly, I didn't know that my blood pressure on one side and the other was different. That's a really large indicator. I had a really nice, great, effective paramedic who eventually, after the GP not calling me, I've had 6 weeks of feeling unwell, 2 courses of antibiotics for a kidney infection. Aware that I was unwell, kept ringing the GP, even bought Bupa in a trauma response to the fact that I couldn't get seen. I've documented all of this out loud and out proud. I then got hold of a private GP who said that they could put me for some blood tests. In the meantime, that blood test, good morning, Dale, that blood test hasn't happened. It's going to be on Monday. That was the earliest they could do. Effectively, always round, it didn't happen until I had a TIA in 6 weeks. Now, I explained all of my symptoms. They just hadn't all come together in one thing. Once they did, which pretty much you can go look at it. If you look up FAST, I think it is. I think you have to look up the acronym. I'm not quite there yet with it, but there's a way of noticing. It's feeling dizzy. It's unsteady. It's not being able to find your words. It's not being able to make sense of what people are saying. It's feeling very fluttery in my chest. It's then having a really big headache, not feeling well, kind of the end of feeling crap, but with some word finding problems. But eventually, because of the heart rate, only because I'm monitoring myself. If it wasn't for the fact I was monitoring myself, I knew I felt unwell. I knew I had a feeling, just couldn't put my finger on it. And I'm not very good at expressing myself. Sometimes that you can't see the wood for the trees, as it were. And it's uncomfortable. It's great to see everybody here this morning. So who do I think I am? Well, I think I'm probably able to read my own body responses, and I think that I speak up, maybe not in the same way as other people, and that's not a bad thing. It's just a different thing. If I'd come from a different planet and I spoke with a different accent, or I didn't put my words in the right order, you wouldn't say, oh well, her English isn't that good. So I do speak differently. I'm aware of that, and sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees, but there's always attention to my intention. There's always attention to the intention that I have for the words that I say. What I say is very deliberate. So I'm sharing this with you not because I want to diss the NHS. The NHS is the only reason I'm alive, all right? Without those incredible doctors, and Rosie, my doctor the other day, was incredible up at the hospital. The paramedic was responsive and amazing. But if they couldn't get here for 5 hours, which is what happened, that's a challenge, right? 5 hours emergency response after waiting 12 hours for a GP telephone call, after waiting 6 weeks to get a feeling sorted, probably isn't fit for purpose, especially when I tried very hard to even do the paid version. And what does that say to us? And we all have free apps and paid for apps and funded things and not funded things. And all of that is one big discombobulated bananas. But what do we do about it, I think, is my question. So I'm here for inclusion, and I think that's the only answer. And I'm going to just explain why. When I was little, we go back there. Remember, I'm Mandy-Jayne. I'm training as a social worker. It's a really difficult process. When I trained as a psychotherapist, it undid me. It took everything apart of me because I had to explore everything from my childhood. And it really unpacked everything and made it laid out there. And I've had lots of psychotherapy, right? But every course that I go on changes me. People get divorced when they become psychotherapists because they realise that the relationship isn't what they wanted at that time. People, when they become teachers, move forward and realise that they want more work or less work, or they didn't want children or they do want children. It changes us when we go and deliver to hundreds of other people. And then social work really does help you see just the human endeavour in all of its context. So it's changing me. This process is changing me. Everything I do is designed to change me, not change me from who I am, but change me to where I want to go. And that's my raison d'etre, is being able to change where I want to go, and wherever I am, to move in that direction, to help my wind be fruitful and effortful behind me, help me be part of the stream of consciousness that I wish to sail within. That for me is alchemy. That is the energy of being a human. So who am I and who do I think I am? Well, I'm here for inclusion. The reason I'm here for inclusion is when I was little and I went to school, and I've taken a photo of my school. It's the first time I've went back to have a look at it, and it was on the internet that I found it. So I didn't even have to go back to the trauma site. And it's exactly as I remembered, just smaller. I was smaller, so it looked bigger. That's perspective, right? It looked smaller, and it was just a house. I reckon it was her house. And it wasn't a real school. Well, it was, but it's permanently closed. And I wonder why. Well, I don't wonder why. In that school, we did PE. And in PE, we all lined up. And when we had two teams, we were selected. Now, my first memory of being selected, and there were many that I've blocked out, was with a girl called Victoria and a girl called Amanda, who became team captain, and they were chosen. They were little, they were insignificant, they were quiet, they weren't really very good jumpers, but they were good managers. They were very, probably neurodivergent. They were very, very small, little people. I've noticed that little people are, anyway, so little people, and they've been chosen to team lead. And I think they were probably two of the fairest girls you could see. They were very nice, they were very kind, they came from a nice middle-class white background, sorry, but they did. They weren't challenging. They didn't have any challenging characteristics, and they were selected for that. That's beautiful. And they weren't the tallest, fastest, strongest players in netball. It was a netball team. They weren't that. They were just two fair, equitable, little, unassuming females, quite gentle in their demeanour. And they began their selection. And of course, logically, even I understood, and so did everybody else, and my learning disabled friend, the only one in the class, also called Victoria, but a different Victoria, known as Smelly Victoria, actually, to most people who talked about her without her, but sometimes when I was in hearing shot. So I understand why Victoria won and Amanda chose people for their agility, for their height, the tall ones, the ones that can get the netball in from like half a mile away, right? But everybody was selected for their different characteristics, and I could almost see them matching characteristic for characteristic and making eye contact between each other to make that fair and equitable. Brilliant. Two girls that I really liked. I remember Amanda, who was really much smaller than everybody else. We had those windows in our classrooms when we got to secondary school because I was with her all the way through. And we had those little port windows. Oh, I like that. Just learned something new. I'm going to start playing now. Hey, listen, look what happens when you do this. Does this work here? I'm like, yes, it does. Sorry, I'll stop playing now. These little port windows. She once got stuck outside of French because the teacher had locked the door to stop Andrew escaping, and she couldn't get back in. And I remember her bouncing up and down in the port window. Hello, 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 for ages. And I couldn't stop laughing. But Victoria and Amanda were fair and equitable, and they chose and matched and tried to make an even Stevens team. Very emotionally intelligent. And then it came to me and Victoria too. And I felt so uncomfortable for everybody. I could see them going, oh, which one do we have to have? And it just came down to whose turn it was. And so that kind of negated their challenge. I was selected as the worst of the worst, as the least, not the worst, as the least useful of them all. I was not deemed as being useful at that point. Netball, and couldn't really run very far. My walking wasn't that good. I walked with a gait. I was a round-faced, moon-faced kidney patient. That's what happens to kidney patients. They become moon-faced because of the swelling and the water on board. They didn't run very far. That probably was quite red-faced, and although I was quite a good shot, one side was always better than the other. So I could shoot quite well, but I had to be in a certain angle to be doing it, and I looked a bit strange. When my brother bowled, he always looked a bit strange, and it was okay for bowlers, wasn't it? Especially fast bowlers, they could just be a bit weird in that. I don't know. I think it was the 80s when bowlers did really wild things, but that's how my brother bowled, right? So if he ever watches this, Gary, you did look a bit of a prat when you were bowling, although you were very effective. And I didn't look that good when I was netballing, right? But I could get it if I did it in my way. I think that's quite important. So I was chosen, and of course I wasn't chosen for my tallness. I'm only 5'2". I was 5'3.5", but my spine's shrunk. It's crumbling. 1.5 inch, but even stood up, I was only 5'3" at my tallest humanness. So very small. Not very long arms. In fact, some of the shortest arms that there are. I'm not really made for a wheelchair with wheels, a manual wheelchair, because of the shortness of my arms. I'm not a very long armed human. I wasn't gifted with the arms my art teacher had. He had extraordinarily long arms. Yeah, he did. Brian had extraordinarily long arms. I'm not. I could do with them for wheelchairs, so I haven't. But so I'm not that good at shooting a ball, right? Well, I am. Accuracy. But it's not selected from my characteristics. But I'll tell you this. What I think Victoria and Amanda were not keen on was the fact that maybe I would bring a different strategy to the table. Now, that's where I think I've avoided being part of the games, when I felt that I shouldn't be included, that maybe they didn't really speak my language, that maybe in corporate terms people weren't really having an inclusion agenda. Perspective again. And you're right, Matt. And maybe, thanks for that comment. And maybe I wasn't selected because they couldn't see that bringing a different flavour to the table, giving a different perspective, maybe looking at things just from the other side, might bring more happiness to everybody. So I've been excluded from day one, and exclusion's an interesting perspective, because I think it makes us quite keen on being included, maybe until we get there. Somebody said to me the other day, these people that are fighting for inclusion, they want to be careful what they wish for, because they might just get included. I have to say that every industry I've ever been in probably isn't in a state that I thought it was in before I went into it, if you know what I mean. Things always look better from the outside, or worse, given the perspective. Hey, Matt. So this is an important part of me, is the fact that I'm here for inclusion. But I'm here for inclusion come what may. I'm here for inclusion whether I'm in hospital, whether I'm not, whether I'm able to get here and find my words, whether I aren't, whether I've put my makeup on or I haven't, whether I've remembered to match my clothes or whether I didn't. I'm here for inclusion because I have to live it. And as I said yesterday, to the lady in the gallery who's organising the beautiful space that we are in on Good Friday together, and we begin at 6 o'clock. We're in Blackwater Gallery, and I was saying to her, and she's a wonderful, wonderful orchestrator of space, that we don't often grow black, and she is. We don't often grow queer, and I am that. But we do very often grow disabled. Now, a TIA is incredibly common. In fact, I was told that my heart rate business, the way it works, is a really, really common thing in the UK and becoming more common, as is stroke. All of these for lots of reasons, because of our lifestyle, because of the way we've treated ourselves, because of the things that we imbibe, because of the commodification of our consumer nation, all of these things, because of the amount of time we've got, because we are not here to include ourselves. In fact, we are exactly what we've excluded. But we haven't just excluded others, we've excluded ourselves sometimes when we haven't attended to our well-being. And next Friday, I'm going to be talking about how I have achieved my well-being beyond death, beyond multiple organ failure, beyond endometriosis stage 4, beyond osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, beyond my bowel being resected twice, so I don't really process food effectively. Beyond all of that, I will be sharing. Sorry, I've just got a call. I will be sharing my cousin, so I'll be calling him soon. I'll be sharing how I've overcome it, and it's through a number of ways. It's not just through the products I imbibe. It's through the actions that I've taken. It's through the people I have around me. It's through the practices I've taken, and through the learning, and the living, and the sleeping, and all of those things that I've done. And that's going to be couched in my story and the story of others. I believe that it is in telling our narrative that we can change the perspective of others, and we can change people's inclusion from a mind shift to a heart shift. Now, I know some people haven't even heard about inclusion. They don't understand that I am everything, and everything is me. You are everything, and everything is you. Now, I can only know this from the experiences I've had, and they're my experiences. I'm not expecting them to be anybody else's, and I'm not saying this is the status quo. I'm saying this is my status quo. And I've had many interpretations for what I've experienced. And for some people, it will be that my brain was dying and they were the messages it gave me to make me happy. I'm not sure why my brain wanted to make me happy, but that's good if that's what happened. And it happened 3 times over. So therefore, it would pan out for me that if I look at the evidence, that who do I think I am? I think I am here for inclusion, and I think I'm here come what may, because even when I wasn't here, I was. I had no experience of losing connection to the universe. In fact, being exited from this only allowed me to see it from a greater perspective. The death reach is something that's known in end of life as what we do when we finally see through the veiled curtain. And I've been privileged to see such things, and I've been privileged to do such things. I've been privileged to watch that process, and I've been privileged to be part of it. And I've been privileged to spend some time there and come here. I'm privileged. So next Friday, I'm going to be sharing part of my story. It probably is going to be emotional. It probably is going to be emotive. It's possibly going to challenge people, and it's definitely going to change you. And it absolutely will change me. And everything that happens in Cardiff Bay, in Cardiff, in the capital of Wales, for time and memorial. It will always be this way, because it will be. Next Friday, it will be, and I will be me. I will be MJ, and I will think that I am explaining what's happened and how it is for me. In the organisational space that I'll be working next Friday, the access is very limited, and it's caused me to grow a bone growth because there are no accessible doors. And I'm going to be sharing that in their own space. I've shared it with their solicitors, and I've shared it with them, and now sharing it in a public space in their public gallery within the complex that I'm in. So this is activism, this is performance, the redistribution of power through immersive practice and activism in the community. This is a gentle way of explaining that I'm here for inclusion, come what may. And I don't mind how long it takes, because in this space I've been here nearly 3 years. Eventually, we will explain that I'm not going anywhere, and neither are you. There are more and more people on board. We have an incredible, incredible allyship, and you are amazing for being here and listening to me today. I'm not going to keep you till 9 o'clock. I'm not, because I'm here for inclusion, but on this occasion, I'm also here for me. I'm going to post a link. Next week has a purpose, and I'm not expecting people, whoopsie daisy, I'm not expecting people to understand everything without spending some time with me. But what I want to do is I want to hit and smash a £10,000 limit. It sounds like a lot of money, and I understand nobody's got any. Believe me, when I arrived in Wales, I had a £5,000 overdraft. I thought my house was going to be repossessed, and I just sold £500,000 worth of buildings. In the north, that's a lot of money for those in the south laughing at me now. And I thought it was all over. I did. And I couldn't have afforded a fiver. In fact, when we raised money for the farm, I spent so much time because of my guilt about how much I couldn't give financially. Now, I did give as it was, because in my giving, I'll be honest, came my becoming. And I think that's really important. I gave when I had nothing. We're just a backstory. I was on Clubhouse. Clubhouse was a social audio media app. And part of my story, I don't want to share everything, but I got that app on Valentine's Day, which is all about love of self, love of others, and loving myself. I wanted to reach out. I was in a hospital bed after I'd died through COVID. I got double pneumonia and double pleurisy. Throughout that period, I was intubated in York District, and on a DNAR, do not artificially resuscitate, was placed upon me. It wasn't with my agreement, and my family hadn't agreed either. I've just recently gone to a course about what we do when we, as social workers, refuse care, end of life, when we say that that's enough, enough is enough. What practices and protocols and laws and regulations that we have to run to, and what the doctors have to run to as well, not just us. It's not just us that have to run to protocols. Everybody does. Doctors and policemen and solicitors and social workers. We all do. And doctors are meant to go to court to ask to not resuscitate somebody, and they didn't. And I have now screenshot audio video footage of a solicitor saying that has to happen. If I choose to withdraw care, then there has to be an agreement from court. And there's been some case studies where that hasn't happened, and those people have had to take redress. So my learning is my becoming. And by going and learning when I was raising the money for the farm with other people about how people are and who will show up, I realised that I am here for inclusion, because come what may. And so very many other people were that day. And there were some shining lights every time we have raised money somewhere for somebody, something that involved us getting together as a community. There are those that have shined bright like a diamond. And for them, I thank them, because their energy propels inclusion forward. It's not about how much we spend or how much we have. It's about what our intent is around our inclusion. Now, I think that inclusion by design is a given now in the future. I think when we include by design, now I'm talking to everybody here. I'm talking to the heads of corporates without lifts in their head office. I'm talking about those that aren't ready for inclusion. When I went on placement to a day opportunity centre, and I couldn't get in the staff toilet because there wasn't an accessible space for a wheelchair, and I was expected just to use the toilets that the individuals that we supported used, which was fine, but the staff had a separate toilet, right? If they hadn't had one, we all use the same loo, fine, which is the way it is at the placement I'm in. But there was a separate staff toilet I couldn't use. And then I couldn't actually get into the staff room and sit without somebody having to reverse out the staff room for somebody to come out the staff room, or for them to not come in. Anyway, you know what I mean. So people need to be ready for inclusion. They don't just need to be ready for inclusion in terms of their lift. I found out yesterday at Pendine House, the lift isn't working. And this gentleman has been asked to pay £2,500 for a lift he paid £20,000 for in his building. And he wasn't very happy about it. And I understand that. It's a massive expense. And there is a massive question with the government expecting big business to spend that now. Because now, and it's just changed, and nobody's told anybody because nobody cares and nobody's coming. And the government know this. They mind this lilac review. They mind this baloney we've got going on, and these corporate conservative blue chip disabled people being selected to have a conversation about it. I'm feeding back to the lilac review because I want some reality. And I'm not saying that everybody from, that side of the fence, and there isn't a fence, but you know what I'm saying, isn't speaking their truth. I'm just saying sometimes that truth is sanitized. And when we sanitize the truth, then we can't hear each other, or I can't hear you. Or if I do, then I'm afraid the signal's a bit skewed. So I'm here for inclusion come what may. And I think that I am authentically showing up as me. Now, don't get me wrong. I got some slap on. And Marie mentioned earlier in the comments that she hoped she looked this good after a TIA. But you know what? It's not the propensity of what's happened, or even the joy that I have, that the result of my recovery is that I'm just a bit shaky. My heart rate's not right. I've got some problems with my flow, definitely, to do with my ventricle. My vascular issues are definitely prevalent. And I'm aware that I don't feel too clever. It's why I didn't kind of expose you to an unmade up face. It's amazing what a bit of slap can do in it. I am here for inclusion next Friday, and I'm here for inclusion, whether that's that I'm on a screen from a hospital bed or whether I'm live and we can have a hug. But there are free refreshments because I'm just that cool. But if you want alcohol or you want to buy alternatives to what we have, then there's a bar open for those. I'm not exclusive to be inclusive, right? I'm just not up for that. I'm not sanitizing my space. Because when I do, I don't allow people to be who they are. And that's who I want to see. I want to see you. You know why? Because you're important. I'm important. We're important. Everyone is important, even if it's Victoria and MJ waiting to be selected for the team. Because what Victoria brought was the learning disabled perspective, was the perspective that we are an equitable, fair, and non-sanitized society. We allow everyone at the table. We don't need to sanitize our experience. We can explore our experience, and we can be out loud and proud and with us, with us, with us, you know, with us. Because when you're not with us, and I'm going to tackle something a little bit challenging now, and I hope this doesn't offend anyone. And if it does, please accept my apologies in advance. Many people speak to disabled people through me. It's kind of a way, potentially, I think, of equilibrium in our thinking. Look, I attend to some inclusion, a bit like I watch some exercise videos, so I'm going to get thin. Do you know what I mean? I think that it can be challenging to be with everybody that's different to you. I'll be honest, it's challenging for me. I have two carers for whom English is a second language, and it's hard for me and them and us. In some ways it's harder, in some ways it's easier. I notice that I use less words, and I think that's what I'm going to learn from this going forward. Less words, simpler explanation of my intent. For that, I've taken on a team, because I have to say I'm an alien. I didn't speak English in the first place. And the other thing is that my propensity to speak in the spoken word secretly, apparently, is an area of study in neurology that says there's an area of our brain that's broken. So my question about perspective is, are rappers broken? And can my propensity to rhyme without trying a dysfunction or a function? But I've tried to learn my way around it. And the magic of this is, and I'm telling you now, it's why the TIA has been difficult but a good process for me, is my brain can create new neural pathways exponentially quickly now. It looks and goes, uh-oh, that way is getting blocked, let's go. And can build with the propensity of a machine. It has the right nutrients. It's got the right products within the cellular structure. The mitochondria are being elicited by the immune function materials that I imbibe. I have a collection of methodology by which I've retained and remade this system to work the way it works. Now, don't get me wrong, it's stuttering. And it's stuttering, in my opinion, because it was going to stutter again at this point. My mum had a massive ischemic attack, pretty much the same as I had, except I have to say that she was not in the best state when those things happened. She was a beast. She smoked. She drank when she wanted to, and particularly when she was stressed. Sometimes I know that she, the girls would go out for a bottle or two of wine, just occasionally. Not terribly, but she was a larger lady because she was limited in her mobility. And her occupational therapist didn't take her. She did hydrotherapy at one point, and then the pool was closed. So she was stuck and sedentary. It was said to me the other day that in dementia, in social work, it's very often a very risky situation when people start with challenges, because they're very eager to be out in the community still when they're still challenged. So, and I would imagine that in dysphasia, which is the losing the words when you have a stroke, and those behaviors, that would, when you can't communicate, it would probably lend itself to some looking outside to the community to try and get experiences so people would understand you. I think those agitated and irritated behaviors that we get to when we're discombobulated are the things that we're seeing when people are inflammaging. diabetic, all those things that we're experiencing, fibromyalgia, pain, fatigue, all those things that come with chronic fatigue syndrome and ME. I think the irritation of people is because of the way that our systems are responding. And I think that I can feel some of that, and I have done. I think I'm losing my point here, but I think that the issue is that we need to talk and be with each other and be who and what we are, and that's what we're going to be doing. And I think that there's a way of recovering, not just recovering, but of being prepared, being ready for these happenings, being ready for when something hits, when the body goes wrong. Because my body did go wrong for a lot of hours the other day, 3 occasions throughout the day in the 12 hours, and then the ambulance came. And it's not comfortable. But it happened, and here I am, the other side of it. And I'm not sure that I'd have been here if I'd not been doing the work. So I just want to say thanks to Pete Cohen for the fact that the Magnificent Seven is part of my life, because I hadn't concentrated on it. And in the last 3 years, I have. I believe I'm here because of the work I've put in. And next Friday, I'll be showing you some of those things that I've used. And also, I'll be inviting a number of our disabled entrepreneurs that are already on their way to being in business. Some incredible stories with incredible people. And we will be having just a chat with them and me and you and everybody there as we promote inclusion and bring inclusion to the table, but not in a sanitized way, not in a way that we exclude or cherry pick or select or demonize or decide what the agenda is going to be. Bring your questions and I'll bring the answers that I have. I don't have all the answers, but I have the answers I got for myself, and I have the answers that I select for the people, the individuals that I support, and the jobs that I do with the hats that I wear. And I'll be talking about those too on Friday. This isn't the only event for inclusion. It isn't. It's also the work that I do with accessibility partners who are funding this event. That's the work I do, and I have a team now around me. I just want to say thanks to Dale for helping me form and develop my vision for the team that I needed around me to relieve me and get to the point that I could have had this happening on Friday and not all the world fell apart. And I want to say thank you to my team for just getting on with it. Yeah, in no uncertain terms, for just getting on with it. And I think in business terms, the just getting on with it brand really has to be part of what we're talking about here. Because as much as we don't want people to step outside their zones, as it were, outside their lanes, actually managers giving people the propensity to take some agency and have some decision making and move with their brights has to happen. This managerial approach of keeping everybody in their box and keeping them down and just process driven, not actually allowing them to engage their brains, doesn't work. And we have to change it. So I want to talk to big corporate about managerial attitudes, because as a visionary leader, I have to disseminate my vision to my managers, to my leads, to my operation leads, and they then have to divulge that to our team component parts, right? Individuals, teams, those sections. It's important that I'm able to express that vision in a way that is hearable, listenable, understandable. But I think that in inclusion, we need to be seeping ourselves in the soup of things. And that for managers is an uncomfortable practice. It's why we need educational, psychotherapeutic social workers who come into organisational practices in whatever form and help things at the heart of it. We need to take what we do from here to here. We can only do that through the process of awareness. And next Friday will be an awareness for me. It'll be awareness for you. It'll also be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to have a coffee with you. We're going to be having a coffee, and you're going to be able to see some amazing art. Let me give you just a little bit of an insight. The gallery is a new space. It's in a new space with a place that's not ready yet. A bit like inclusion. There's lots of scaffolding up, and there's lots of imagineered futures. There's a bridge to the right that isn't built yet. It's a bridge to Butte Town. It's a bridge to the people. That's to the right of the entrance. To the left, there's a gate. We're a gated community. I've been told there's around 2,000 people in our gated community and they're all invited next week. Let's hope they don't all come. It'd be nice if it was just too full to let people in and we had to take the microphone outside and speak around the water's edge, wouldn't it? That for me would be a success if we had to take inclusion outside. Let's take inclusion outside, shall we? Let's let people through the gate and welcome them to a new space that isn't ready yet. Let's build that bridge and let the people in. Because when society reflects society and people are seen and heard and valued and they're invited to the table, and then important voices that are missing right now are heard, and then we stop sanitizing our reality. So if you're up for not sanitizing your reality and you really want to come somewhere where you're seen and heard and valued, and come next Friday to a free event where we've got a coffee for you ready. Well, whatever you drink, actually. Or whether you do. Even if you are totally fed, I have a way of you tasting what I've got. I have a device now that you can froth anything to give somebody a foam of a taste of it on their tongue, even if they are totally nutritionally fed, because I'm getting ready. I'm here for inclusion, and I'm here come what may. I'm here to build the bridge, and I'm here to open the gate. And I'm here to do it for nothing. And I'm here to do it because my intention is absolutely to make sure that everyone is seen and valued and heard, whether it's now or whether it's after I leave this, because I'm still here. I'm here for inclusion come what may. I'm here for inclusion whether I am still in this body or I'm not. We are all here for inclusion, and inclusion will happen because eventually you realize, I want you to realize that you are everything and everything is you. There is no separation between us, and everything you do affects everybody else. Everything you say affects you. Everything you think affects your I am. I am is known as I am God. My God of my understanding knows I am acceptable right here, right now in my totality, because I've been made that way. And so have you. Whatever you imagine has happened to you, and I'm talking to you right now, that you think was not part of your reality or part of the intended goal for you, you're wrong. Everything is for you. Everything. Every last thought. Every last happening. It's all for you. But they are in there. There are messages. There are ways of you hearing your soul's cry. Your innermost self. The bit that you're becoming, the struggle of our identity, the struggle of our soul. Where I've been is hell and back again. Where I'm going is towards my own becoming, because I now know who I am. Who do I think I am? I think I'm a person. I think I'm here for inclusion come what may. I think over the last weeks you may have seen me crafting this story. I think you may have heard me refer to things all together now, because we are just better together. You may have heard over the last 3 years me orchestrating a way of explaining to people why I'm here. And I think I'm getting there now. I'm learning English, and I'm learning to do the things that maybe other people can take part in. I hope so. I'm looking forward to being here for inclusion with everybody. I'm looking forward to our cameraman and our team being there. I'm looking forward to hearing everyone's perspectives, from hearing those unique perspectives, because it is all about perspective. And I'm looking forward to having a hug. I'm looking forward to sharing my space with you. I'm looking forward to sharing my perspective, and I'm looking forward to sharing, well, lots of amazing stuff. One of our newly ordained entrepreneurs who's just come through the process, not unscathed, but through the process. There are some battle-weary people coming next week. Sells magic honey, and I take it. So anyway, do what you want. I'll be buying some magic honey next week. There's all sorts of wares, and eventually this is just going to turn into an inclusion fest which is great, and it's what we want. But this is just a start, and we have the space and the place and the time and the attention to do that next Friday. And Easter's a time of becoming. Good Friday, of course, is traditionally what we're celebrating. There is Jesus's demise. We're celebrating it. Why do we celebrate? He died, right? Well, yeah, he did. He died, according to them, to save us. I think probably death saved me. It's just that I did it 3 times. I just didn't take 3 days to get up. Maybe shouldn't say that. Apologies to all Jesus lovers. I love him too. I just don't think he's not up for a laugh. That's all. And I'm not going to talk about what we were born as or what gender we are or what that means for how quick I was or how many times anybody did anything, because it's not appropriate. I'm here for inclusion. However, I will tell you that I do have a gig booked later on for inclusion, and it's just to raise money for inclusion. Believe me, I'm on at the Glee Club for inclusion. Stand-up comedian. I am training on a session over 6 weeks. After a little sandwich between after placement and there. It's between BASWA, inclusion's going to BASWA, the lived experience panel. And you remember next week, some of these people are going to be on the lived experience panel. You're going to hear some amazing, cracking stories you'll never have imagined, really. So those, and I forgot where I was going again then. But we are creating lived experience panel individuals as we speak. And there's going to be some footage of them next week. So, you're going to be able to see things from this event going forwards through our social media channel. And we have a new YouTube channel. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to have to get the link. I haven't got it. Anyone that can find the link, stick it in the chat. We've got a YouTube channel, and Jan Santos has got shorts out on there. Some amazing things that he's pulled from this StreamYard footage. He's an alchemist. And there's all sorts of people involved. I mean, you'll probably know some. And if you're part of the coaching group that I'm with Pete Cohen, you'll see everything that I do every week anyway. So I hope you're on board for this, because I'm here for inclusion. I'm here for you. And next week, we're going to get this over the £10,000 mark. We are going to crown our disabled entrepreneur at Disability Expo 2024. And before then, we need people that are part of accessibility partners and inclusion to apply for that fund through a process that their job coaches are going to be sharing with them very shortly. And they're going to be able to book an hour with a job coach and smash that application out of the ballpark, because it's not going to be complicated. And that way, we're going to have a fair and equitable process that's out loud and proud. And that way, we're going to be able to then select from that on a panel that make those decisions. And we're going to invite some really, really important people to that panel to make that decision, because we want this to be fair, equitable, out loud, and designed by people who know what they're talking about. So if you're one of those people and you're willing to be on the panel that decides who the first disabled entrepreneur is going to be, because this is just a happening that's waiting. We're going to create 100 before you know it, and then 1,000, and then 1 million, and then 100 million, and then, well, quadrillion, Julian and I have decided. So if you want to be part of that and you're willing to give up your time to just be on a panel and watch some videos in your own time, come up with some shortlists, and then come to a meeting to decide and vote for the one of your choice, then please do come along. There'll be a discussion. We'll be having a bit of a banter about each that get to the final, and then we will be awarding that £10,000 equivalent fund to somebody from the UK who is part of the Access to Work programme, or will be as a result of that. So we're looking for socially sustainable businesses by disabled people for everybody, included by design, where the bridge has been built for everybody. No kissing gates, no steps. Wide enough, please. On a pathway that everything can travel. With inclusion by design. And the gate, I'd like it opened. I'd like the scaffolding down. I'd like the cladding to be legal. I'd like the doors to be open, and I wouldn't like to have to build bone to live here. Inclusion shouldn't have to change me. It should shift and morph to include me, because it should be by design. If you are running a UK corporate and you believe that inclusion is from a mind shift to a heart shift, and do you think that a little bit of disruption sometimes is a good thing because it just breathes new blood into your organization? If that doesn't turn you on, I would question your leadership, because I think a new perspective, a fresh perspective, eyes wide open to include everybody, has to be the way that a visionary is going to lead their organization. So call on me. If you know you need me, call on me. I'm available for you. We can look at that and have a conversation about what that looks like. I am a motivational speaker. I am a visionary leader. I am here for inclusion, and I am here come what may. Now, true to my word, I'm going to let you go 10 minutes early. People keep saying that sometimes they feel like they're being told off by a teacher. So there you go. I'll give you what you want. You're going to feel like you've got a chance to go and do something for 10 minutes now. What are you going to do? You're going to share one of our shorts? Are you going to go and get your ticket for next week? Are you going to book your train? Are you getting on your plane? Are you getting out your comfort zone? Are you doing something you haven't done before? I'm talking to you. Are you going to dare to be different to what your mind tells you you should be? Are you? Are you going to defy the odds? Are you going to get on that train even though you've got to book it 48 hours in advance to get the ramp? Are you going to make that phone call and book that WAV that's been funded for you and dare to get your equipment into the boot and tell them what time you want to be there? Are you going to spend 70 quid on a hotel room and say, well, to be honest, the water rates will have to wait? I'm not being funny here. I'm not suggesting don't pay your way, but if I was not going to pay anything, it'd be water rates, because I never do a disabled person. And anyway, you probably should have a water cap. Why not investigate next weekend the water cap with me, save that money and come along? It's free, and actually the money you spend, you'll save on the information you get. What am I saying? That's the way to sell it. Just come, honest, you're going to save a fortune. I am Martin Lewis for the disabled world. That's what I've been called. Come along, you're going to save a fortune, literally. I just say be here for inclusion. Come along, it's a beautiful space. Come and stand at the water's edge in the sunshine at Easter and contemplate your navel. We are here Friday. Louis is also here Saturday for some filming. So if you're staying overnight, we've got the whole of Saturday together and we're going to have some fun. We have a schedule to create on Friday night together, because I'm here for inclusion, but I'm here for everyone to have a voice at the table, right? So we're going to be doing something practical. This is a practical session. Co-designing our space and our place, taking down our scaffolding together and building our bridges and opening the gates, letting people in and letting the sunshine in. So on that note, I'm going to give you 7 minutes, not 10. I love you all so very much. Who do I think I am? I think I'm Mandy-Jayne. I think I'm here for inclusion, and I think you're fantabulous. We are just better together. I will see you here on Monday, actually, in StreamYard and on LinkedIn and everywhere, actually, at 6 o'clock for MJ's house. 7 o'clock for inclusion, again, Clubhouse. If you know where it is, go and get it. If you don't, see me everywhere else. And then Friday in person at Pendine House at Blackwater Gallery, 6 p.m. You need to have registered. Make sure you have. It's free, and it's a great space. Come. Oh, I haven't told you about the art. The art's the college. That's where I was going to go. You're only going to get 5 minutes. The college. I met the guy from the college when I was there in January, when I went in to say what I wanted. She said everything started to go boom from the second that we booked, and I started to talk. People started coming to us to book the space. I was the first person to book the space, and now the director said yesterday he's just added a new page to his website, because he's going to let the space out just as we have asked him to do. And since then, their business has taken off. So using a space imaginatively for disruptive intervention is happening. There's an art gallery space now, and I found the student installation yesterday to be second to none. One of the installations is about unsolved murders. Absolutely incredible. Pictorial unsolved murders. Really, you need to be there to understand what we've created. Come and see. I'm excited. Go and have 5 minutes. I love you all lots, and lots of blessings. Thank you for my birthday wishes. Thank you for my birthday gifts. Thank you for my birthday cards. Thank you for my birthday plaques. Thank you for my birthday events. Thank you for my birthday flowers. Thank you for my birthday everything but cake. I am grateful to everybody. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.